Hello, everybody.
Good evening. You are listening live to the Xtreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the Pine Hills Palace, just west of Orlando, Florida. I am in the Xtreme Studios. I just put the books on, wrapping up another episode of Sherlock Holmes, the grounded TV series from 1984, starring Jeremy Brett. Check that out. We're releasing those on Friday. The show we're going to be talking about tonight, of course, is the next to last episode of season 3 of Jack Reacher, L.A. Story. L.A. Story, that's a pretty weak-ass title. I've got with RDV with me, who wants to give everybody a heads up and say hello early first, because I love it. But finally, RDV, we get to see Duffy taking her clothes off and trying to get the hotsies with Reacher, and I could care less.
I was going to say, out of the 3 women he slept with, this was kind of the weakest scene. It was kind of like, oh, it's over with.
I'm okay with that, to be honest with you.
It was just kind of weird. It was just like this season they decided to like nip it in the bud and be like, yeah, we know what's going to happen. We're not going to give you anything. We're gonna...
Do we need to have that in a Reacher series?
No. But we got more beefcake this series, though. I noticed more ass shots.
More Monkey Man meat, absolutely. Yeah.
Which is, I was so shocked because, is this going to be a new trend now? We're going to have... Are the girls going to get less attractive?
Do you think Reacher is intentionally made and shot for the bisexual and or gay community, like some shows are?
No.
He's a very attractive man.
No.
As a heterosexual, I can admit that freely.
I think they're trying to make it for unisex more so like guys. I love Reacher because Reacher is a badass and he's not going to take shit,
But what about the violence? Because we're going to talk about that here in this episode a lot. This is the action episode here.
Yeah. Reacher has a thing with authority. He doesn't want to listen to it, but he'll fuck it.
Yeah. Especially when it's his authority that's driving him.
So this, I agree with you. This was a really weak story or episode title. They had no idea what to call it. Just should have just called it ATF.
Episode 7 would have just been good by itself.
What the ATF would have been a better title.
FAFO.
So in order, because we're on the actual the second to last episode of the season, they know that there's gonna be that Xavier Quinn needs to make a deal because he owes money to the Russians, so he's desperate, and while they still want to get Teresa out, their best way to get Teresa out is to work with Beck. So for the first they do, basically they go, they meet, they get their own mark because they need a buy-in in order to make a deal. So I love the fact they're incorporating Neagley back into this, the episode and then this episode now. Neagley goes and after Reacher and Duffy meet up with a guy who's been known for doing some dirty dealings, and they kind of blackmail him, press strong arm into setting up a deal with Beck. So they sent Neagley because she has no connection to Reacher whatsoever that Beck knows of. But then, so when she meets Beck, she reaches out and says it's like, hey, gives them the 411. We know it's like, we know that you're not a bad person. Let us that the last person that dealt with Quinn, they're 6 feet under along with their family. In Chicago, you're next. So unless you cooperate with us, you're dead. And this guy is desperate. He wants to get him. He knows he's going down with the ship, but he wants his son protected. And this episode, I was really shocked because they really just showed that Beck, he's not a bad guy. He was grieving, and he basically every time he saw his son, he reminded of his wife, and he knew he was going to die. There's no way he can on the situation because Xavier Quinn is a monster, he's a psychopath. So this way, at least if he dies, his son will hate him, and his son will grieve, because he already lost one parent. So they have a really touching moment in this episode. I thought it was really good. It was really probably the best part of the whole entire episode, I'd say.
I'm going to agree with you on that. I told you that, I like him being a hard ass, but it's hard to take Anthony Michael Hall as like, I'm not going to say a tough guy, but like a bad guy in the sense that I'm going, I said that the whole thing with the son really liking his father and what was going on and how that was unwinding at its own pace and not being forced on us was really nice to behold here. And I really had wondered if those two were going to be in a situation where they would be shooting the bad guys. Maybe we get to see that in this last episode. I don't know, because I've got to say this is the complaint I have about this episode, is that all the stuff that we got built up by the Scooby-Doo crew that he's with now, I don't hate it, but it's just there.
Did
Even the
this-
stuff with her, it's just
Yeah.
there.
I gotta
And
ask
I
you,
really am liking the stuff with the father and son and Reacher. That whole angle itself was great. It's like I almost wish the Scooby-Doo crew wasn't here in this series.
I gotta ask you, when they were setting up the deal or strong arm with this one crook in order to set the deal, did this not feel like the old man, in a sense?
It is, but you could tell it was going to be a setup, you know, here at the end, the whole way. And how did they not see it? And then,
no, well, yeah, but I mean, as far as setting up the deal in order to get contact to back and stuff, you know, it kind of felt like what we did with the old man, where he set up himself contact with somebody else in order to get contact with somebody else information. It's like, so I kind of like this. It was a little bit, but yeah, as far as this, we get to see proof of life that Teresa is alive. We probably get to meet her. You know, she gets her she's on this like disgusting little bed down there, you know, mattress. She's locked away, and then basically she's given some food and gas station, water bottle, and then we see Xavier Quinn, psychopath, coming in there, and he's just like. He takes his candle, he lights it, and he gets a spoon, and he's got this, and he's making her heroin, doping her up, and she doesn't want it, you know, and so like they just went over the top this episode to make him just seem like a scumbag, and I liked it because I don't want him to have a redemption, you know, and it seems like a lot of shows will do that, and I'm glad that they're actually having a villain being a villain.
You know, but the problem is even though the actor I don't think is doing a bad job, the way it's presented, yeah, you're right. He drives up the building.
He's a disgusting person.
The stairs, right? She's laying there, and actually, I thought the bed was way too clean and nice looking. She didn't look like she'd been roughed up or abused at all.
Well,
literally. So when he gives he's
a bargaining chip, probably.
Well, exactly, and he said, "It's a good thing for you. I have to keep you clean for the buyers."
Yep.
I would have my way with you and then cut off all your girly parts. I'm like, well, you sound like a moron talking like that. I'm not.
Well, he sounds like not really, because considering what he did to Cole. Yeah.
Did we see that though? I mean,
no, they didn't zoom in on it because it was Reacher. You always saw her feet. You saw the blood, and Reacher draped the thing sheet over her.
Well, let me ask you this though, because a lot's going on in this episode, and I have to bring it up because of this scene and just him in general. We get to see a lot of him. The idea of what he is and what the importance to him in Reacher's past, obviously significant. But an episode or two ago, when we were talking about when Reacher was going undercover, and the whole question is whether or not he was going to remember who this person Reacher was from his past, and he didn't. It'd been more interesting if he did, in my opinion. But it's not working for me. I could care less about this gun exchange. I'm not getting a sense of dread or anything here at all. Yeah, my only concern is the son and the father going to make it out? And you think, well, the father might die because they're talking and he says it, and the kid might live. We don't know if it's a happily ever after, but you almost kind of want it the way they're telling it. What do you think?
Well, I mean, we were talking about their shows too. I mean, when it comes to Beck is no different than Neil McDonald's character in Tulsa King, you know, and you got Jackie King over as Xavier Quinn. Xavier Quinn, honestly, I feel that he is a threat. I don't get that where he's just kind of the weak story as far as the guns. Yeah, It's cliche, but will the Russians come to play into this? Because they haven't got paid yet.
Bad dudes. Yep.
Yes, we know the Ruskies are going to play, and we know that the ATFs are chump. Because, and this is what I like about this. This is where we're like, hey, Reacher's working with a team. He's been playing on safe mode this whole entire time because he won't kill Quinn, but he wants to kill Quinn. And at this episode, when they finally get information about, you know, that about what's going on, where the deal's going to go, thanks to the Beck calling them. And so Reacher's in the motel with the cops, and she's like, well, we're going to include the ATF, you know, in this. He's like, what? No, you're going to mess it up.
I got to ask, did you think that was actually the character that we've come to know, even though she sleeps with Reacher, we know it was going to happen?
Yeah.
She seemed like she was hell-bent and all that. Do you really think the real character would have wanted the ATF involved? I say absolutely not whatsoever. This is totally unbelievable to me.
No, I believe it. Because she's in too deep as it is, and they only have 3 people. It'd be going to be suicide to go against a bunch of guys with guns, you know. So, and as it is, he said, so basically, yeah, it is believable. You know,
I don't think it was very consistent at all with her character. It was a big letdown for me. Very disappointed in that.
I disagree, but anyway, so basically, as they kill the ATF, you know, Reacher goes in there, and Reacher pretty much, you know, sits in the room and they're talking about how we're gonna do this, and it's like don't work. Basically, Reacher knows what's gonna happen. This always happens. There's always a red tape, and then, oh yeah, now you're excluded out of the case because that's what happens. So and Reacher says, no, I'm not sitting this one till as I'm going to get Quinn myself. Which he gets in the guy's face and leaves. They're threatened with basically because it's been aware of the fact that they did not. They said they have evidence. They were doing an illegal what they were supposed to do in this. So now the 3C guy threatens like, oh yeah, your jobs are in jeopardy now. You might be getting, fired and all that stuff. Whatever. Yeah, my question is, we know that Xavier Quinn has people working for him that's in the government.
Yep.
That because he's blackmails them. How do we know the ATF is not corrupt? The guy in charge.
Who's he running it for? Who's his customers?
Yeah.
It's got to be the government, right? I mean, come on.
I mean, he was selling marketing, making money off of that. He has intelligence. He was like I said, he had a whole operation with this.
All the manifests that are so doctored up with the paperwork.
So that's because, like I said, we know that he Quinn is very paranoid after everything that's going on with Reacher, then in the ATF agent made. Now he doesn't trust Beck, so he's gonna have the buyers coming in. Neagley's been trailing them. We find out that the ATF and Reacher and them went to the wrong place because Beck was told the wrong place on purpose because he can't be trusted. So the deals are going to be going down at the birthday party where Beck is, and that's where basically where the son is at too. So that's basically where. But I bet you, because I think it. And I'm trying to think. Did they move Teresa? Or they moved Teresa off the boat? Is she back by the mansion?
Well, here's the thing.
It's
so obvious that it was going to be the old switcheroo. I mean, and the fact that they didn't even discuss it as a possibility is a second thing here, besides involving the ATF, I think that goes against the way they've been telling the story and their characters. One of the better scenes in this episode is when Reacher's kind of like pouting almost. He's really pissed, and he's on the bed just kind of staring up at the ceiling while they've already done the deal with the ATF and all that. And she sits down basically, and you're like, oh, you bitch, you did him wrong. And she's like, look, I don't want, Teresa to become, my whatever Cole or whatever the character that
I guess an example about she was married before too, and the guy cheated on her with the cousin, so he doesn't want this to be as Rhonda.
Yeah, it was a nice exchange in that it showed that they paid attention to the way they had told the story and the way the characters had interacted. And so going to the ATF, even though I don't like it or believe in it or agree with it, especially when she knows so much about the street, to think the government would actually come in there and do anything useful when they're running an off the books operation is just ludicrous. But the problem I have is that when they're going down and the ATF allows them to be in the van, okay, it's, closed system. Nobody's, watching them. They can get out and do stuff because we see Reacher do all that. It was funny because when Reacher left to go get coffee after they had their conversation in the motel room, he went to go buy a sniper rifle to take the dude out. That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But the point is they didn't have that back and forth witty exchange that shows how sharp Reacher's thinking is, detective style there. He's acting like a petulant boy. And I know he's supposed to be doing that in this episode to show how much he really hates this guy for killing and really doing something disturbing to one of his first cadets or whatever that worked for him. I get it, but it just seems like it's not in the thing that those two wouldn't have had some sort of thing. Well, it's got to be right here. Well, what's happening at the main building there when they have the 50th party? Because they keep mentioning, right, the 50th birthday party. They mentioned it with the maids and everything too, because we see that setting up in here, and so that's obviously where everything's going to go down.
Like I said, it wasn't really. I don't think it was ever originally supposed to be there because it got changed because our Reacher was undercover. It was discovered.
Yeah.
So honestly, as far as there's a lot of cliche stuff in here, but I kind of gotta like brush it aside because it's a really good show.
It's entertaining. This episode is moving fast by all means. It really feels like it's building up a pace, doesn't it?
Yeah, because we know what's going to happen in the last episodes. It's going to be explosive, and if the Russians are involved, I think that'll take down a lot of the climax, at the end of the season. It only has 8 episodes, and like I said, you've been kind of building up, and like it kind of gave you a little nudge, and you're like, okay, so now everything's going to be happening there. There's a lot of guests there too, but and just we also know that Neagley has a stake in this too. She wants to kill Quinn as well. And he's not there. He's not allowed to. The Reacher is not supposed. He wants to kill Quinn, but if he kills Quinn, he's gonna have every law enforcement, everything going chasing him for the rest of his life.
So that means Quinn's going to die. We just don't know how. So how
I think Quinn will die in self-defense.
Who shoots him?
Reacher.
I still want it to be the kid or the dad.
Because I could see if Reacher kills him, then Reacher's like man on the run.
Yeah.
Because
does the father and or son die in the next episode?
So here's the thing. I don't think they'll kill off the father or the son.
Okay.
I think they'll tease you. There'll be a red herring, but I think Neagley will come in and like protect them, or something like that. But I think the fat cop's gonna get it though. Because they can mention, I'm on my pension, or like I'm about to retire, and everything like, yeah. So, because he's been kind of useless as it is, but I don't know, man. Like I said, this was a very cliche. This kind of felt like an Amazon TV show, not Amazon, but I mean a ABC episode of something like that, cop procedural. It didn't seem very thought out like previous ones were. We're like, so it just kind of sounded like it was just kind of like rushed because they couldn't tell you everything was going to happen, so they kind of like were building right up to it. And then it kind of fizzled up towards the end because, well, you need to watch their episode. So I don't know. It's like you throw some cliches in there. Yeah, the girl was kept a little bit clean. It's understandable because the fact that she's in a bargain ship, they're going to dress her up in the green dress and sell her off, trafficking stuff.
Yep.
It would have been more hilarious. It'd been like, or not hilarious, but I mean, like, they want Quinn to be like his evil son of a bitch. It's like, but he's like, I couldn't help myself. I had to murder somebody because I need bloodlust. I'm pissed off. So he gets his release when he murders somebody. So it'd be different. He just grabs somebody else and just murders them. Like this. So something just make him more of a psychopath,
Right.
Because he can't kill her because she's a bargaining chip, and it's like I said, if this had been anything else, there would have been blood stains and all over that mattress, clearly signs of her being a sexual assault, but a lot of shows even on Amazon will not go that far.
Yep.
If you're gonna find that stuff, it'd be on Stars. I think Stars is like the last. At least they were. Well, back in 2018, I think it was that where they actually were gonna go that far and actually show a sexual assault and stuff of that, or signs of it. Yeah.
It's here's the thing. We're 3 seasons in now. I think this has been a very good 3rd season. I enjoyed it more than the 2nd season because I don't want the supporting cast type of shows. I want the ones that's basically about a lead. Now, the group in here has really not been that bad. It just, I felt like some of the stuff was a little inconsistent, maybe a little forced, like you say. But in all honesty, my favorite parts of all these Reachers have been the first couple
season
episodes where they're setting up the mystery, right? That's always the intriguing to me. There is a world of possibility out there while you're watching it that you don't know where it's going to go, or like we mentioned with the maids and some of the characters. That's cool when they milk that along, that it's just a matter of time before it ties into some big, what I call anonymous plot, because it's usually government agents or a big wig or the boss lord or whatever. And at that point, it kind of doesn't really mean much. But that's why, like in the first season, when they're down there, some of the things that are interesting in the books, if you read them, is like, he's going and he's getting a haircut, and he's got the guy talking to an older gentleman. He's like, no, I really just came down here because I want to listen to some blues music, and something the guy said triggered him, and that was like a clue that he drew upon later on that you don't see. That's what this show does well, and I think it's pretty faithful to books. Season 2, I think, stepped away from it to go into the action mode storytelling as opposed to just going, stay true to Reacher. Now, you did say something I want to comment on because I think it does sum up season 3 really well. I think it's the 2nd best season. I think season 1's the best. Yeah. It feels very safe. It feels like they know what they're doing, how to do it, but it's very sanitized. Yes, there's some violence in here, and it's a little shocking, but it's just not nearly as graphic as you might hear in the book or like in season 1. The sex, to your point, she takes her clothes off. Okay, they get it out of the way. It's done. That's it. I'm not complaining because that's the Reacher template. All the books are basically the same formula. It's not about.
Do you know what's missing though? It's missing Finley. Finley's character, he came back in the second season too. He popped up. If you don't know Oscar Finley, he was the character. He was the detective in the first season, but by Malcolm Goodwin. And that guy's a really good actor, and him just being frustrated with Reacher, constantly threatening, "Hey, if you do this, I'm gonna throw you in jail. You can't go." It's just like that's what's missing. And like by having not a cop like that who to hold Reacher accountable for his actions, it kind of makes Reacher just kind of like, I can do what I want, Where
I guess you need somebody there to kind of tell the audience with the ramifications of his actions, right?
With Roscoe, she kind of like excused it, but she still had the book character, the detective, I'll throw you back in, I don't care, I'll put you back in jail, whatever, You need someone like that.
I think those two characters in season 1, Roscoe and the accountant guy that was the well-educated police guy or whatever, they were fantastic characters. Finley, I'm not feeling that yet in season 3, and it's okay. I'm glad that they got Neagley. The way they did her was fine. Yeah. It was okay. I know she's going to get a spinoff show. That could be interesting. I'm sure we'll take a look at it. But yeah, overall, this is the episode where they just put everything together for the big explosive finale, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's like I said, it feels like it's about 30 minutes long. Maybe because there's not a lot that happens. It's like if there's things that happens, goes A, B, C, D, and E. That's it. But as far as like I said, like it's not much in between it as far as character progression, other than the fact that she finally couldn't resist it and jumps Reacher's body, and then they have sex, and then it fades away. But it doesn't like the weird. Remember the back in the day, like in the sitcoms or not even sitcoms, but like the older movies, like they brother have sex, but they don't show it. They zoom away and let your imagination do it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, no, I miss that kind of format, storytelling.
Well, because people don't have TV anymore.
Well, I mean, it depends what you're watching. It depends what you're watching now. I mean, if you're watching the Americans, they didn't mind. But I mean, like, I like this. It was kind of classy like that. You don't need to show that.
The sex itself isn't pertinent to telling the story. It's a reaction of these two going on. So just show that they're going to do it. That's all you need to do it. Move on. Just
to reestablish that they actually kind of are lovers, that he does care about her. But now I'm wondering, will Duffy get killed? Because he slept with her.
They always say in the old horror movies as a joke, if you're a virgin, you won't die, right? If you're a woman, if you run, of course, you'll fall and hurt your ankles. Stupid stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's lazy writing. It's nothing new about it. He slept with Roscoe. Roscoe didn't die. I'm sure he slept with somebody that I can't think of.
Roscoe got kidnapped. So did the other girl.
Did not die.
Did not die, though. But I'm saying maybe Duffy will be the next one to be taken hostage by Quinn.
That would be weak if it did to me.
I'm just saying it's already happened twice. One per season. The girl he sleeps with or gets with, ends up being taken hostage.
What I don't want to see is Quinn holding a handgun up to somebody's head, saying, "Don't you step one step further. I'll blow his head off or her head off." I mean it. That is just going to be so weak. If this guy's really smart and strong, they should have a clever way for him getting out of it.
Well, no, he's not going to do that. He's going to
pull it. I don't want some dramatic final gun show off like it. And let me ask you this: are we going to get the big fist fight? Because now we've all forgotten about it, right?
Well, no, you're going to get the fist fight from the big dude, but I'm this is probably what's going to happen. We're going to get a Noel part 2, but this time Reacher saves the day. As you're going to have Duffy probably strung up somewhere, and he's going to save the day, get it freer.
That's too easy.
I know, but I'm just saying. What we've seen so far, it's been kind of cakewalk. It hasn't been really hard like it was in the first season.
You know what I think I'd like to see? We go back to the first couple episodes where we get those beautiful shots, the drone shots, where they are of the entire estate. It makes sense that that's where the deal would be going down,
like Landman, all
that. But you know what? What makes it beautiful and unique? Unique New York. No, it's Maine. It's the fact that you've got those deadly situation there standing on the edge of the rocks where the one dude was telling Reacher, this is where we toss them off. That would be justice to me, toss him off there. Because remember, Reacher did toss him off before, and the guy didn't die, which is ridiculous. So I'm thinking that's what's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be an in-the-house kill.
Well, yeah, I know. I don't think it'll be that either. But I think someone's gonna get tossed in there, and either it's gonna be Quinn, or it's gonna be the big dude.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be Quinn.
Because Richard's gonna get in the compound, he's probably gonna swim in.
Well, you know what? The fact that we're even trying to guess what's going on in the last episode, that's not a bad thing, right?
No.
Even though we know that this is the type of episode they have next to last or near next to last for Reacher. It's also one where there's multiple connections, like either like an over state lines or really far away in distances and everything too. So nothing wrong with that either. But it's I enjoy the show a lot. I'm looking forward to season 4. Did you have any news on that?
I didn't look it up, but I saw that IMDb already has season 4 listed with episode 1.
Nice. Can't wait to get through that. So, this has been an enjoyable watch. I'm looking forward to reviewing the final next week live here with you here on the Xtreme Movie Show. Any final thoughts? Anything we need to wrap up, sir?
Not much. Just saying it. This was okay. It's probably one of the weaker episodes of the season.
Yeah.
But still not bad. Honestly, if you guys have not checked out this series at all, or checked out even the season before that, check them out. They are loosely tied.
Yeah, they're not in order. You can watch one season without the other.
But you'll learn more about Neagley if you go through the correct order, 1 through 3, because she seems to be the constant one thing that happens in the series where she shows up and helps out. So honestly, good show. Like see Anthony Michael Hall in something. The last time I watched him in anything was the Dead Zone TV show, which was on Sci-Fi many years ago. Great show.
Yep.
Other than that, it's a good episode, and well, I guess we'll see you guys on Tuesday. There is a pull-up for our Tuesday night movie, and at the last I checked, Logan's Run was in the lead. By far.
Because we reviewed Gattaca, which is doing pretty well. Yeah. So we wanted to do dystopian science fiction, I think.
Yep. Well, yeah, we had The Road, we had the Logan's Run, and ZPG. It was an Oliver Reed movie about zero growth population.
Yeah, that's very Malthusian, as I like to reference some of the older stuff. And that's a fantastic fun.
So a really good movie. I watched it before. I watched it by accident. I was like, "What is this?" It was on Roku, and I watched it. And I remember it was because zero population was basically each family is all they have one child because they're short of oxygen on Earth. So, and at the time I had no idea it was Oliver Reed until I went back and looked. I was like, "Oh my gosh, it was Oliver Reed," because I didn't know his name when I watched the first time.
Yeah,
it was a random person. But yeah, so it was like, we always talk about those cheesy 70s environmental friendly, disaster and stuff. It's like that's basically what it is. But it's good though. I like it.
Poll is still up though. I'm looking at it now. Logan's Run is in the lead at 47. ZPG is 29, and The Road with Vigo from 2009 for the Cormac McCarthy book is only at 24%. I will say this, guys, if you haven't seen The Road, don't read about it. It's one of those ones where you just watch it. I will tell you, RDV, if that ends up winning, I don't know that it will, but I'm sure at one point we'll review it.
It's the only one I haven't seen.
Friggin' bleak. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to sit there and say. Yeah. Logan's Run is the light one out of the bunch. And it's also in the lead too. Nothing wrong with that too.
I mean, it's got Jenny Gutter or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, Jenny Gutter. Yeah.
And Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah. Oh. Everybody remembers.
But you know my favorite scene the whole entire that movie is the end when they go into the Capitol building. It's all covered with like vines and stuff.
Well, we don't know which one's going to win yet, so we'll wait and see.
No, we know what. It's
going to Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern.
I'll have Logan Run scheduled by Monday night because I know it's going to win. Because it's such a very popular show or movie that it also turned into a TV series too.
So if you haven't voted, vote now.
Yeah.
If you're feeling freaky, tweet it out so other people that will not only watch us but vote as well too. And we'll continue putting up the polls with a certain thing for you guys to vote on because it's interesting. We pick the movies that you guys vote over, and it's really interesting because we have absolutely no idea what movie the audience picks for us to review. That's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to that. Good night, everybody.
Later, guys. Oh, yeah, and there's only one thing I didn't say to you guys. Stay extreme!